unexplainable
Hello?
is happening.
Come here, you better check this out.
What is it?
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars and welcome to another of my remake reviews. Today I'm taking a look at the 2009 horror remake of My Bloody Valentine. The film is directed by Patrick Lussier and it stars Jensen Ackles, Jamie King, Kerr Smith, Betsy Rue, Tom Atkins and Kevin Tighe. Right, okay, now we are following a town that essentially 10 years previously, this is like a mining town, and 10 years previously there was some mass killings by somebody who worked in the mine. He killed something like 22 people, massacred them, and some people barely got away with their lives, including Jensen Ackles, Tom, Jamie King, Sarah, and Kerr Smith's Axel. However, 10 years later, on the anniversary of those killings, Tom returns to town because he is now the owner of this mine and he needs to sign some papers in order to sell the mine. However, the killings start again and it is up to the sheriff and all those involved 10 years previously to find out if the original killer is back and try and save their lives. Right. What are my thoughts on My Bloody Valentine? Well, this is obviously a remake. The original was from 1981, and I'll be honest, I haven't seen it. But I've actually been quite interested in checking this one out, really. I'm going through a phase at the minute where I'm quite enjoying slasher films, even the not so great ones. You know, I've done quite a few reviews on the channel recently. I've done I Know What You Did Last Summer and Urban Legend, and did quite a lot of the Scream films last year or the year before. But I'm kind of enjoying revisiting a lot of these kind of, you know, 90s stroke 2000s glossy cinema horrors, I suppose, of which there were many, and many of them were remakes as well. So I've always kind of been aware of this one. I mean, for quite a few reasons, obviously. But one of the reasons I was really aware of this film, because I think in 2009, obviously this stars Jensen Ackles from Supernatural. Supernatural is one of my favourite shows. So in 2009, we had Jensen Ackles doing this. And then in the very same year, we had Jared Padalecki, who did Friday the 13th, the reboot or remake of that film. So they both kind of did their own kind of horror remakes in the same year. I'm sure it was the same year anyway. So while I have now seen the Friday the 13th one with Jared Padalecki when I reviewed the Friday the 13th franchise last year, I've not seen this one yet. Now, the big selling point for this at the time was this was My Bloody Valentine 3D. It was all about the 3D at the time. Avatar's got a lot to answer for, and one of the things it's got to answer for is that phase for years where everything had to be in 3D. So it's painfully obvious when you watch this where the 3D moments was to happen here in the film. You know, it sticks out like a sore thumb, and it doesn't work when it's not 3D really. So they put a lot of their eggs in one basket to kind of make this a thrill ride, if you like, by making it 3D. It still works okay when it's not 3D, and overall, I didn't dislike this film or anything. I thought this was certainly better than the one I reviewed a couple of weeks, Soriety. Yeah, Soriety Row. Is that one I did a couple of weeks ago? I wasn't overly keen on that one. Preferred this one to that one. This one had a decent mystery to it. You know, who was the killer? Was it the old killer come back after 10 years, or was it somebody else in the town? You know, the film does a good job, I think, here of throwing you a few red herring stroke curveballs. it delivers some characters here who you kind of thinking it's probably this character, and then you kind of start doubting yourself. It's like, mate, obviously it can't be that character now because he's just been killed. So, I mean, it's not bad, and it does keep the mystery going for a large part of the film. Even right to the end, really, I suppose. So I didn't mind that at all. I honestly felt it was pretty good in the way they kind of did the kills. Some of them were done. I mean, I think some of the kills for me were spoiled because they were clearly done for like the 3D aspect. There's one where as a character killed where he puts the pickaxe up through, and then he kind of pulls it out and then it flies towards the audience. So I mean, there's another one with a pickaxe through someone's head with an eyeball and that kind of stuff. And so it almost becomes comedic, some of the kills, rather than being what you would describe as brutal. I mean, this was rated 18, so it doesn't really pull any punches in that sense. But like I say, it just feels a bit gimmicky, a lot of the kills. Just, how can we make this, look good on 3D, rather than how can we make this look good and make sense in the movie, I suppose. The performances are good here. I was concerned early on because they were trying to pass Jensen Ackles' character off as like almost a teenager, it felt, at one point at the beginning of the film. And the film starts quite jarringly. I mean, it's straight into the killings, and you're kind of like, oh god, I don't even know what's going on here. You straight into these killings and stuff, and they all kind of happen, and this, butchering and everything's going on, and then boom, it jumps forward 10 years. And then it gives you a little bit of time to breathe, I suppose, then. But the start of the film was a bit like, oh god, I don't know what's happening here. But it did kind of settle and slow it down a little bit, which I was thankful for, because I thought when it started at the beginning, I thought that was it. Oh my god, we started straight away. The killings are here straight away. But yeah, I didn't dislike the film. I thought the performances were decent, really, by everybody. I didn't overly dislike some of the characters. Sometimes in these films I find that some of the characters I desperately dislike, so I kind of look forward to when they get sliced and diced or munched, whatever it is, depending on the horror film I'm watching. There was only really one character here in this film that I didn't like, but beyond that, I didn't mind most of the other characters. So yeah, as horror remakes go, I think this was certainly a decent attempt. However, I couldn't say whether it surpassed the original because I haven't seen it. So any of you who have seen the original, let me know in the comments if you think the two compare and if you think I should watch the original, and I shall try and track it down and give it a watch. But in the meantime, thank you very much for joining me for this review, and I will of course be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.